the equality. And WhatsApp message now. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Tom Swarbrick on LBC.
Very good afternoon to you. This hour...
Stamp duty especially, it's stifled anyone moving. I can't afford to pay 100 grand or 80 grand.
As you know by now, or at least you should know by now if you've listened to this programme for some time, we are, on this programme, fans of tax cuts. We like them, we applaud it. Get government out the way, let the country bloom. But on this one, a little bit torn. Should we give tax cuts based on age? Andy Burnham has been urged to cut stamp duty for over 65s to boost the nation's sluggish property market. Pensioners should receive the same stamp duty relief as first-time buyers to encourage them to sell larger family homes and downsize. This is a new report coming from Radix Big Tents Housing Commission. First-time buyers in England and Northern Ireland pay no stamp duty when buying properties worth up to 300 grand. Stamp duty is then levied at a 5% rate between 300 and 500, at which point the relief ends. For all other buyers, stamp duty is paid on property sales upwards of 125,000, with the rate levied on a sliding scale of 2% to 12% based on the home's value. Getting into the weeds of it already. The Housing Commission has said that the cost of stamp duty was stopping older people from downsizing. It said expanding the stamp duty relief to pensioners could bring up to 870,000 family homes back on the market in order for other people who need the space to live in them. The Commission found that this is a standard. I'm not trying not to give you too many numbers, I probably have already. The Commission found that over 60s now hold a record 2.89 trillion in housing wealth. That is more than half of the UK's total property wealth. Right, I think you can see where it is. I wonder if that is an issue for you wanting to downsize. So there you are, it's just the two of you now. The kids have flown the nest. You've got a gargantuan 5-bed monstrosity somewhere on the outskirts of somewhere, and you'd like to downsize very much, but the amount that you'd have to pay in stamp duty, the 5 grand, 6 grand, you don't want to do that. Although, if you've got gargantuan monstrosity in the suburbs somewhere, presumably the amount of money you would be making on the sale of your property more than adequately covers the stamp duty you'd have to pay. Now, again, I'm a fan of cutting this tax. I don't like stamp duty. I think it does get in the way of the property market. We were already talking about it yesterday, actually, the sluggishness of the property market in London. People just are not moving. But to give a stamp duty, a tax cut based on age, why not say, we are going to cut stamp duty if you reduce the size of your home? We're going to cut it even further. If you reduce that, whatever your age you are, if you reduce the size of your home, we'll give you a cut in stamp. Would that help? Would that be fairer? 03456060973. Are you stuck in your home because of stamp duty? You're not going to move out of your big property that has more bedrooms than you need because of stamp duty. I can see it up to a point. And then you look at the English Housing Survey, which found that around 70% of over 65s live in properties with more bedrooms than they need. And instantly the hackles go up, because I just don't like being told what I need. If I'm a person over the age of 65 and there are 2 of us in the house, who are you to tell me that I don't need 4 bedrooms? It's my house. 03456060973. Alistair Nimmo is Director of Marketing at Family Building Society. Thank you very much indeed for coming on, Alistair. Do you think this would work in achieving its ends to get older people with bigger properties to downsize?
Thank you, Tom. I think the answer is, and one of the questions we have to ask is, we've got 870,000 homes available at the moment, could be made available. The government, on the other hand, is trying to build 1.5 million new homes, and that's a tiny percentage of the overall housing stock. Freeing up 870,000 homes would go a long way towards actually helping people move. And it's not just first-time buyers. It's all about next steppers, people with growing families, people who have to move for a new home. You won't get any economist to agree that stamp duty is a good tax. Everyone agrees it's a bad tax.
Yep.
So there's 2 aspects to this. One is the emotional pull that a family home where you brought up your children has to a family and to the children themselves. It's the place they go to, family events. It's where they go to at Christmas or whatever. It binds the family together. People who live in those, as you say, gigantic 5-bedroom houses don't always necessarily want to live there because they're not suitable.
Yes.
Because they don't have the facilities. So what do? Do they move into what I would call an old people's ghetto with no facilities, no infrastructure, no community base? So there's another aspect to this in terms of our overall housing problem, in that we're not delivering for all aspects of society. The emotional pull, as I say, is very strong, but equally strong is the financial pull.
Yeah.
Now, the survey we did with our members, which forms part of this report, absolutely says we don't want to pay the government and write the government a large cheque for absolutely nothing. So that's their view. And in fact, I can remember...
I think, Alistair, that's a nice way of summing up quite a lot of people's views of paying tax in this country at the moment.
But to move home and to get somewhere, suitable for you and your later years, why should you write a cheque for 10, 15, 20,000 pounds? Now, so there's two aspects to this, as I say. Taxes, stamp duty is a bad tax. You just have to look at what happens when you put 5 pence on the price of a shopping bag.
Yeah.
How many people do you see standing in a queue pulling out a bag now? So it does stop movement. And one of the other things I'd say as well, it's a major driver of growth. Now, during COVID, the government had a very elegantly crafted scheme called stamp duty holiday.
I know, I took advantage of it. We were very fortunate. We moved house in that stamp duty holiday. And do you know what I did with that money, Alistair? The many thousands of pounds we saved by not paying stamp duty, we put it all into the house. We did the room.
Right.
We paid the people to come over and decorate it. We put the electrician in. We did loads with it.
So what you did is take the tax take that would have gone into stamp duty and put it into VAT by employing, as you say, the people who actually invested in the work into your home. Now, it's not the easy thing to say. It's movers, it's solicitors, it's conveyors that get the money from moving. Actually, you prepare a house prior to sell, so you actually improve it what you need to do to get it the best price possible. So you invest money in doing that, and then when you move into the new place, you're buying your kitchen, you're buying new carpets, you're buying, you're renovating. As you say, you're putting a new roof on. So all of these things actually make a difference. So our work and research that we did with the London School of Economics, independent research, showed that the tax take was neutral.
Wow.
So it being a beautifully crafted idea, the government stopped it. So, so you have a situation where, you get the economy moving. It's exactly what we need right now.
So, sorry, just to repeat that, Alistair, the tax take overall from the stamp duty holiday, because this tax does make quite a lot of money for the Treasury, the tax take overall during that stamp duty holiday did not go down despite stamp duty not applying.
Yes. And this is the point. And this is the point, you see, Tom.
That's so good.
If you have an integrated housing policy and you have departments talking to each other, and actually you stop the Treasury thinking in a silo, you might actually get some really decent growth happening. Because what you've got to do, you've got to look at the wider picture. One of the things we've been calling for as a society is the equivalent of a climate change committee or the Office of Budget Responsibility. You take a housing committee and actually say to it, take all of these different aspects of housing policy, join it up with different departments, get people thinking about what's good, not just for first-time buyers, not just for the over 65s, but everybody involved in housing. And that's not just buying properties. That's dealing with homelessness. That's dealing with quality of properties. That's dealing with unoccupied properties. And that's dealing with outstanding planning permissions. For, I think the last time I looked at the figures was 1.5 million homes have planning permission but have not been started.
Yeah. Well, Alistair, I mean, those numbers, as you've laid them out, your research shows the absolute insanity of this tax in the first place, doesn't it? If the tax take doesn't go down when you remove the tax, what's the point of the tax in the first place? Great to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on. Alistair Nimmo is Director of Marketing at Family Building Society. Has stamp duty stopped you from downsizing? And by the way, before you get on me about this, I don't like this narrative that says to the over 65s, oh, come on, move out the way. Oh, come on, there's a family here. They want your house, move. I don't like that. You've worked really hard to own your property. You have a very strong emotional attachment to it. You should feel no requirement for the benefit of the country to leave your home. It's your home. There is a requirement on the state to build homes if they feel we've got a housing problem. Build more homes, or to create the conditions in which buying and selling homes is easier, like removing some of the completely ridiculous taxes on that process. So I think the person who feels, you may well be one of these people, who feels, well, I'm suddenly wrong for being 70 and in a house with 4 bedrooms because this is my house and the state want me to move out the way so another family can come in. Why am I being made to feel like that? I think you're right. I don't think you should be at all. But has it stopped you from downsizing if you wanted to, this stamp duty? And is it fair to give a tax cut based on age? If anyone downsizes, should they have stamp duty removed? 03456060973. Get your calls after this. Tom Swarbrick on LBC 415.